thought Caoimhin Kelleher in the context. I get it. Why risk Alison? Completely understand it again. There's no need to. There's no award for him. David Hayes already won that, so there's no point. I reckon if he was in for the Golden Glove, he probably would have played.
Yeah.
I think Alison saves definitely 3 and probably 4 of them.
Yeah.
And in particular this one, this again, and this isn't me like. Well, it is a bit. Caoimhin Kelleher's a good goalie. Alison's a great goalie. And I kind of tweeted after, I think it was after the 3rd goal, I was like, this is kind of what our season would have been like without Alison. He saved us time and time again. Loads of teams have been in these places against us. We've just had an absolute monster in goal. When you've got a good goalie, but one who's relatively young and inexperienced, this can happen. Like, he doesn't save the ones that... Alison saves shots, I think, that he probably shouldn't save. Kelleher doesn't really do that yet. And also, on this in particular, the first goal, that's one he should save. It's not a great... You know, if Liverpool trying to put extra pound signs on Kelleher's price tag, they might have lost a few.
Do you know what, though? And I don't know the answer to this question. When was the last time Kelleher played a proper game?
Oh, it's been ages. Yeah,
so in fairness to Kelleher, like you know, without disrespecting your comment there, I disagree with that because I don't think that. I think if Kelleher played 38 games, he saves some of them shots. Yeah. It's the same with Timothy Gomez. It's the same thing.
He hasn't He hasn't played a game. He's been on since the Wolves 1-0 FA Cup in January.
It's been
a long time. Yeah, it's a fair point.
That's what I'm getting at. It's like Alison's unbelievable. I mean, even a Man U fan said to me last night, he's best goalie by a country mile in the world. Like, no doubt. But I do think in his defence, Kelleher, he's walked in after 5-month cold or whatever it is, and your sharpness, isn't it? Yeah. And you know, I'll give Southampton the credit. Some of the strikes were taken quite early, and as we know, we have goalkeepers. If you take a strike early, you can catch him. I agree with you, by the way. I think a couple of them should have been saved, but I also look at it and go, Jesus, man, I said it on Twitter last night, people are coming at Gomez hard against, like, the guy hasn't kicked the ball at centre-half for ages, give him a chance. Like, you know, if Van Dijk rocks in out the cold from 4 or 5 months, he's going to be a bit wobbly. If Alison has 6 weeks off, God help he isn't, he'll be a bit wobbly. Like, so I'm just going to say here, like, I personally think Kelleher was a victim of Alison's success there.
Yeah, but
that's
also,
all I'm saying.
And also, I think you're right. We might as well bring the 3rd goal in here. Yeah. This is one where Joe Gomez backpedals from the inside. Yep. He doesn't go and engage, and that again, you're right to bring it up. So, they haven't played a lot of footy, but again, it's just sort of he's had a bad season, Joe Gomez, and he could have done for his own self confidence of just not having a shocker, and that's a bad one. And again, I don't think Kelleher's brilliant on it either. I think he stood on his near post. But I take Sam's point. We've got all the caveats of training game, last game of the season, lads haven't played. It all makes sense. But I wonder for Joe Gomez's like self-confidence and belief now.
Yeah.
That won't have done him the world of good because the lad picks the ball up to the 3rd goal just after our time on the halfway line and is allowed to run to the edge of our box. Gomez retreats so far. I think Virgil van Dijk's bad at that sometimes for doing that. This is another level. I don't know, he's basically saying, go and have a shot. I hope it doesn't, because I think Gomez is going to stay. I do. I think Matip might leave. I think they're going to keep Joe Gomez. That's one that can do your confidence. It's like, what? But then again, I suppose it can be a teaching lesson, but whatever way, you're watching that replay going, mate, what have I done there? I've had a bit of a stinker there.
Yeah, but what you've got to think about Joe Gomez as well is with his injury record and with it being Alaska, he's not going to open his legs and he's not going to go and endanger himself. He's not going to want to pick up any sort of injury there. Yeah. I think he needs to be smarter though. I think if you're going to run with him, you need to run closer. You need to at least let the defender know the striker has so much space. It was unbelievable. He made him look like Mbappe. Yesterday.
He's quick, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's fast. But he's fast, but like Gomez is equally as fast. And that's my point. Yeah. I've got no issue with trying to slow a striker down and let your mates help you. Yeah. But you've got to do it closer. Yeah, you can't be 5 yards away from him because by the time Gomez stops, he's shot and it's in. It's poor decision making.
But Joe Gomez has had one of them seasons, and I've always said, even when he was at his best, if he's out and he comes back in, he needs about 4 or 5 games to get going. And that's just
a problem.
It is a problem when unless you're the number one centre back and you're going to play all the games, taking that long to get going is an issue.
That is, Sam, isn't it? Because I was about to bring it up, is that he's not first choice, Konate and Van Dijk. And he might elevate himself to next if Matip goes, depends who we sign and all that kind of stuff. But Ian's right, is that when you're not a first team player, you haven't got you're not afforded the luxury of saying, have 5 games to get yourself up to speed, mate, because you won't get 5 games. The only way you're getting 5 games is if someone gets injured, ideally. And that's the problem that I'm with you. It's why I think Gomez suits the Konate role more than Matip. But every time Konate hasn't played, Jürgen's threw Matip in recently because I think he thinks he's better just coming out the cold.
Just in general, yeah.
Gomez does have that problem where, and if he gets 5 games under his belt, he can pull out performances like the Man City one at home this season. He's been playing for a while and he's brilliant. But then you've got, but before that, it is a problem with him that he is right. It's like you've got to wind him up. You've got to get 3 or 4 games under his legs, and you just don't get that as a backup player. If you're not first choice, your job is to come in and perform, and he hasn't really.
He's like he needs to forget. Like certain players who've been injury prone throughout their career, you might see people say, "Oh, they've had an Indian summer in the 30 plus." It's almost like they get to a certain age and forget that they've had those injury issues. It's almost like Gomez needs to get through this year, and then like, oh, I haven't been injured for a couple of years, and then trust himself a bit more. But I'll be honest with Gomez is that I agree with you. He's regressed a lot for me this year. But if us being in the Europa League has helped, there's about 5 members of our squad now whose career will be elevated by where we finish this year. And in some respects, it's probably where we need to be in terms of where some of them are. Gomez will play a lot of football next year now. He'll probably play 6-7 games.
All Europa League games.
That's what I'm saying, yeah. He'll play all the group stages, a couple of League Cup games. He's going to get 12 starts next year probably because of that competition, which is what he needs. Same with a few others. But there was somebody else, like personally, I didn't even really think about Gomez's involvement because I was too miffed off of Fabinho. Yeah. He just walked past him. Yeah. And for me, like, the defensive midfielder's job is to take a yellow card there or tackle him.
He's another one.
I was more focused on that, and I kind of almost missed the Gomez stuff until you brought it up, and then as I'm rolling it back again, I can see where you're coming from.
Fabinho was next, I was about to say. He doesn't do great either. But again, this is the thing, and again, I am not giving everyone a free pass, but when you're that combative on the last game of the season, it's like, don't really put my foot in there. You don't really do it because I don't really want one. And it felt like that because you're right, he should have just fouled. Someone should have fouled him. I don't think Fabinho's brilliant for the first goal either. It's the second goal's a bit it's one of them. But like you're right, he doesn't cover himself in glory. And then the 4th goal, then I'll stick with you, Sam, is this Henderson has a stinker. But again, the lads, he runs half a length of the pitch before he scores. Trent could just boot him.
I was going to say Trent.
Just boot him, but again, Trent. This is the, and it's something we might have to think about it going into next season. Sam, is that if Trent is going to do this thing, what he does, as he's on his way into midfield, if you lose the ball, you're fucked. Because if he's already in there, Gomez is already round. But if Trent isn't quite there, because if you watch it, he's on his way to come and help Henderson. Hendo plays a stinker at a pass. He apologised. It's a bad one for him. He hasn't got the legs to chase him anymore, but. That transition of when Trent is moving out of right back into midfield, you can't lose the ball there. That's something I hope they learn from next season. They haven't done it much this season, I'll be honest. But that pass from Henderson can't happen anyway. But it definitely can't happen while Joe Gomez is still playing centre-back. Because the lad's got the whole left wing to just go and take your boots. And you're right, Trent should have booted them. But it is something to think about. Is that if you're in midfield with the ball and you're waiting for Trent to get there, you've got to be so careful. Go backwards if you have to. Because you're basically saying, "Here's your left wing guy."
It's a pass you play with you 5-0 up. I'll whip it past you. You switched off, but it was poor. And one of the things again from this whole season, we've said this a few times in this chat today, is that again one of the worst thing for me this season has been the pressing's been poor, but it's been the amount of times we just give the ball away cheaply.
There's been a lack of quality, a lot.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah. And you know what? In fairness to Henderson, that pass isn't down to he's crap him, which is what some people say. It's down to him just being switched off. He's clearly good enough to put that ball where it needs to go 50 times out of 50, or maybe 49 because he didn't get it right. But it's just late. He's just come on the pitch. It's tired. It's lazy. It's poor. It's just substandard. And that's happened far too often this year. And another fellow I'm sure we'll talk about who's an absolute legend later on, Mo Salah's been doing it all game as well and all season. They've all just been 5% off. And it doesn't half seem, though, like the second goal with Bobby, or it was the second goal with Bobby as well, is that we've been punished a lot for those kind of mistakes. We seem to lose the ball and concede. And yeah, I mean, I'm still can't understand. I watched the highlights in the car just as I got here before, just to make sure I didn't miss anything. I don't know how Armstrong seems to ghost that far. Like, I've never seen him be quick before.
No, and this is the next one. It's been a long old season. But what I would say, mate, is like Jordan Henderson's role next season for me. I think if Liverpool are going to do anything, and I kind of love Jordan Henderson, love him to bits, friend of the show as well, good guy, been a great player for Liverpool. The legs feel like they might have gone a little bit, and you do wonder if because that
Europa League,
Armstrong sprints away. And he's mad. Henderson's nowhere near him. Trent's hardly there anyway, but Henderson gets completely... By the time he scores, Hendo's already in the box putting his hands up. Like, I think we've seen this year, and I think we did this a couple of times to a few many players, he's had to play too much.
Yeah.
And he can't be that man. He just isn't. It isn't there anymore. We've flogged Roberto Firmino to death. And he's an old 30 odd. He's young in terms of age, but he's old in terms of minutes. And Henderson's very much saying we've flogged him to death. And whatever happens this summer with signings, one of them needs to be Jordan Henderson's role in this side. He needs to be James Milner. Yeah. Come on for 5 minutes, they'll see a game out. 10 minutes here and there, captain the team in certain games. And I think that was like an epitome of what happens if you don't. There's a lad who he comes off the pitch tired. He comes on tired. He's only just come on. He plays a lazy pass and can't get back. That kind of shows where we're at with Jordan, I think, now.